Hello, I'm Nick Carroll and welcome to Jackass. Wait, that's not it. Hello, my name is Nick Carroll. Welcome to my putting session. I'm going to find out where I'm at in terms of putting. I'm going to set the mini at 15 feet, 20, 25, and 30, and I'm going to just throw 100 putts into the basket, or that is my goal. And I'm going to see what my percentage is over those 100 putt attempts. And I'm going to use this to help formulate what I'm going to do in the future regarding putting practice. One of the adages of putting practice for putting successfully is not to practice putting at a distance where your accuracy is 50% or less. So for me, I'm going to be aiming for 50% or higher, and any distance where I cannot accurately get in roughly 50% is something I'm not going to practice at this time. And in the future, should my putting percentages increase, I can then move back another 5 feet. But for now, I'm going to test 15, 20, 25, and 30. If you've seen any of my previous putting videos, the last one I did focused on what my accuracy level was at 15 feet and 20 feet. And it turns out that my accuracy is about 85% at 20 feet. And I'm going to test that this time to see if I've gotten better or gotten worse, or maybe stayed roughly the same.
Now, since I'm not a jackass, I won't have you watch 30 minutes of me putting in one video. What I've done here is put the 4 distances side by side and indicate which of the 4 frames are at which distance. This is less than 7 minutes of putting video, and you can get a good idea of how I did them. And if you watch any of those frames, you can see how I did. I had to cut down the start of most of the clips to prevent a bunch of black squares from popping up at the end of each clip, but you see 9 or 10 of the putts from most sets. One of the things I want to mention is that I didn't warm up for any of these distances. I putted a few times at 10 feet, but I wanted to get a good baseline of how I perform, and I run the risk of giving a better appearance if I practice them beforehand. When you're practice putting and you start dialing in the muscle memory and get everything flowing, you can often get really improved accuracy before long. That would skew my results, and I would see less improvement over time. I realized as I was performing this evaluation that my miss is often low and short. I think that's because I'm scared to put too much effort into my throw and then have it go long or skip off the top of the basket for a comebacker. I also don't generally put a lot of power into my putts. When I first started putting, I did relatively fast spin putts, but over time I've corrected that by pushing more and spinning less. I have what's called a spush putt. Also, my misses generally don't go very far. For example, in my second day of testing after this, at 25 feet, the farthest putter was about 19 feet away from the basket. Out of many times that I putted, I did find that the only way I had significantly long comeback putts were from putters skipping off the top or having an unfortunate roll. But generally speaking, on flat terrain, I had tap-ins for the vast majority of missed putts. This means I can feel more confident putting since I don't have to worry about additional missed strokes afterward. One thing about this day of testing, I had to stop for interruptions between each station. So I had enough time to putt at 15 feet, but when I was done, I had to go in and eat. And then when I was done at 20 feet, I had to go pick up my son from work. And then when I finished at 25 feet, I was actually tired and a bit upset, at all the missed putts. And then when I finished at 30 feet, I was surprisingly exhausted. So I never really had a chance to dial in at any distance. Concentration is everything in sports. You can't putt or throw effectively in disc golf without it. I found it was hard to focus sometimes, and I was prone to missing based on that alone. Maybe a car was too loud driving by, or I was daydreaming a little, or someone walked in or out of my house. I try not to think about anything other than the task at hand, but that didn't help sometimes. I didn't even think about logging my misses because I knew that I was recording and then I would take care of that during editing after this. Also, physical and mental fatigue play a factor. I was exhausted by the end of this, not just physically, but I wasn't even interested in doing more putting. I had entertained the idea of checking my accuracy at 35 feet, but by the time I actually finished putting at 30 feet, I was done for the day. Normally I practice putting and then I throw some approach shots, but I didn't even feel like throwing the disc at all after this. I did find out something interesting once I completed 30 feet, however. Once I putt at the longest distance, the shortest distance is much easier. I was knocking down 15-foot putts much easier after I did this evaluation despite being tired. When I practiced putting the following day, I would do 50 putts at 15 feet, and then another 50 at 20 feet, 25 and 30. And by the time I came back to 15 feet, it was much easier the second time around. I will probably implement this in the future. My plan for now is 25 putts using a staggered stance at a distance and then 25 putts while straddled. Then I'll move to another distance. I'll start at 15 feet and then move my way all the way back to 30, and that'll be one round of 200 putts. My goal is to do that a minimum of once daily, and I'll do that on any day that doesn't rain. I have no plan to practice putting in the rain or the snow since I almost never play in those conditions anyways, and I've just got no interest in doing so. Lastly, this evaluation gives me a good baseline of performance to work with. It'll help me improve over time by allowing me to practice with certain goals in mind and then test myself to see where I've improved the most. And there are probably some distances that I need to spend more time working on than the others, and that's what this will help with. It's also possible that I may have to spend more time at 30 feet than 25 feet and more at 25 than 20 and so forth. Or maybe there's just one distance that's much lower than it should be, relatively speaking. So how did I do? Well, looking at the examples given on the PDGA website, this puts me between intermediate and advanced level for putting. That said, I need to replicate this on the course. I'm much better in my side yard. When I'm playing a round of disc golf, it's quite often that I go several minutes between putts. And of course, I'm putting at random distances, often with obstacles, and without the benefit of muscle memory to guide me. And really, these PDGA standards are for the course, not for putting practice. You can generally putt much better at home or in your yard or at a practice basket somewhere, much better than you can on the course during a round. So I hope that gives you an insight as to what I'm doing in the future with regard to putting practice. I think anyone can do something similar, and the vast majority of putts are going to come from inside the circle anyways, or within 10 meters or 33 feet from the basket, so it's good to work from those ranges. Also, this skill transfers to putts from farther distances outside the circle, even if you aren't practicing those. I haven't practiced putting in nearly 2 months, not even on my vacation in the last 2 weeks of the year, so I plan on getting back to doing that because I can tell that my performance has suffered a little bit on the course. Anyways, I hope that you like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, as I have more fun disc golf content on the way. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.